All right, guys, welcome to the show. Happy Saturday for you guys out there tuning in. Guys, I want to make an announcement here. We're going to start doing a lot more podcast episodes during the week. We're going to try to start filling in the weekend gaps and the rest of the week. A lot of listeners, a lot of followers out there emailing the show. All of us here on the Patriot Angle podcast hear you, and we're definitely going to be getting out some more podcast episodes, more Patriot Briefs, and more unfiltered content for you, the listener out there. Guys, I want to talk about this story coming out of Netflix, guys. They want to start basically, I don't know if they can do it. Maybe they have a technology. Maybe they don't, guys. More on the show. Don't touch the dial, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast. Hey guys, happy Saturday out there. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Hope everybody's having a relaxed weekend. And I hope your day is less stressful, right? Guys, we're talking about here on the show, Netflix. Everybody knows that their viewership has been down for several months. A new story coming out of CBS. Right? Is it CBS? Yes. Since the company has made its launching well over 10 years ago. Started out as a mail type of company before they went to streaming. You would have to order the movie online and they would deliver it to you in your mailbox. Remember all that, guys? Remember back in the day when Netflix first started out, they were that mail-in type of company? Well, as technology advanced and everything else, they kind of went to a streaming service, right? We all know that. We all know where Netflix has gone before. And, you know, the prices have gone up over the course of years. Excuse me. And a lot of people have been sharing their accounts with family members and friends. Well, guys, Netflix is finally going after password sharing. And like I said, here's how it's likely to work. Now, the key points in this whole thing, guys, is Netflix plans to change primary account holders an extra fee for every sub account or password sharer to make up for the lost revenue. Now, how in the hell are they going to know when somebody is using somebody else's account? Well, with the modern technology and the location tracking and everything else, that's exactly how they're going to basically pinpoint the location of who is viewing the stream at that point. If you look in your encrypted location, right, sadly, every big tech giant out there, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all over, right? They all know your location. where your activity logs are being ran. So, with that being said, guys, Netflix plans on doing the very same thing. Now, the video streamer's new pricing plan may take up to a year to roll out globally. Now, that's for the entire planet, right? Might take up to a year. But Netflix plan basically leaves some questions unanswered on how exactly are they going to be able to do this whole thing. Well, the executives at Netflix have rolled out a plan. Now, Netflix surprised the world earlier this week, saying it plans to finally address the rampant practice of password sharing. Now, more than 100 million households are using a shared password. Now, that's just in, the U.S. and Canada, right? But the video streamer doesn't plan to simply freeze those shared accounts. Instead, the company will likely favor the setting of an extra fee for those accounts being used by multiple people outside of the home. Now, how are they going to do this? Netflix plan is to capture that lost revenue. And it's going to start with an alert being sent to the account holders whose passwords are being used by other households. Now, you're going to kind of sound, this is going to be kind of funny here. Like, I'm not going to rat out my own family member, right? Folks, there's always a start and a beginning to every plan. And it usually ends a lot differently towards the end, right? Now, the company has already started a test of this feature in the country of Peru, Costa Rica, and Chile for accounts that are sharing a password across addresses. Netflix is charging an additional fee to add sub-accounts for up to 2 people outside of the home. Now, the pricing, folks, is different per country. About $2.13 per month in Peru, ranging around $2.99 in Costa Rica, and just in Chile, $2.92. Now, this is based on current exchange rates, folks. Now, the company also allows people who use a shared password to transfer their personalized profile information to either a new account or a sub-account, which allows them to keep their viewing history and recommendations. So they're not really going to change a lot, but they want to eliminate that sharing password feature because the company is losing thousands upon thousands of lost revenue per customer. So, for instance, say, just for an example, so you can understand where the company is kind of going at with this whole ordeal. Say you have a family of 4, and out of 4, there's only 1 major account holder. Now, they lost those 3 people that could be potential customers. Now, you add that up, you're talking about, freaking millions of people globally. Now, for instance, like I said, if you got a sister, let's say that's living in a different city, you want to share Netflix with her, that's great. And this is said by Chief Operating Officer Greg Peters during the company's earnings conference call. And I quote, he says that we're not trying to shut down the sharing, but we're going to ask you to pay a bit more to be able to share with her. You got to pay more to share with her, right? Folks, what the hell does it matter? Here's my opinion on that. What the hell does it matter? You're paying the bill, right? That's like somebody sharing freaking internet in the house. What is Xfinity and other major internet companies going to pay or going to charge, for that matter, an extra fee for somebody sharing their internet? Folks, this is just a company like Netflix and bigwig companies in that matter ripping the consumer off. Because we all know what's going on with this, folks. Right? They're losing thousands upon thousands of dollars, almost millions, right? And they're trying to basically keep the revenue up. This is basically going to be their strategy worldwide, okay? And it's already taken partay in these three countries, such as Costa Rica, Chile, and Peru. And it's moving rapidly into other countries. Now, I want to get into this survey here before I take a quick break. I want to get into this because I think it's very, very important for the listeners out there to understand just exactly what's going on. Now, this survey is coming from a research organization, Time to Play, right? Organization that put out this survey. Suggested about 80% of Americans who use someone else's password wouldn't get their own new account if they couldn't share the password. Okay, that makes sense a little bit, but they left out something here. I'm not sure that it's not that they don't want to pay for the service. It's, why should you pay for the service when you have a family member that's paying for the service already? I just don't understand why the company's getting all hiffy about it. Now, the chief operating officer, Mr. Peters, also goes into saying, the company spokesman, also suggested that the company may still tweak pricing or further review its test strategy. So, folks, they're in the very, very early stages of all this. Nothing has been set in stone yet on any of this. So, it could play into different scenarios here. Different scenarios. Guys, I want to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back after these words. Don't go anywhere. I want to get into a sound clip here relating to this story we're talking about tonight on the Patriot Angle podcast. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back after these words, guys. Michael Gardner, a host like no other, unfiltered, unscripted, raw.
Now it's the ever-rising cost of a Netflix subscription.
They need to make money somehow, but I'm not happy about it.
I think it's just a lot, and it's a big jump.
With stiff competition from the likes of Amazon, Disney, and Apple, the company that pioneered streaming is now stumbling, with Netflix reporting a loss of 640,000 subscribers in the U.S. and Canada just this year.
It's something that I think was inevitable because they had the market to themselves for so long.
As inflation pushes up the cost of virtually everything, Netflix has raised its premium plan past $20 a month. It's now mulling a lower price solution that was once unthinkable. Netflix, but with commercials.
Those who have followed Netflix know that I've been against the complexity of advertising and a big fan of the simplicity of subscription.
At the company's headquarters, they're also considering how to crack down on password sharing among subscribers. Everyone does it, but Netflix doesn't love it. So soon, it will come with a catch.
We're not trying to shut down that sharing, but we're going to ask you to pay a bit more.
Netflix also lost 700,000 subscribers when it pulled out of Russia over its invasion of Ukraine.
Hey, buddy.
But make no mistake, Netflix remains a behemoth with nearly 75 million subscribers just in the US and Canada, scoring a slew of Oscar nominations for original films and still delivering hit series like Inventing Anna, Ozark, and Bridgerton. But as the pandemic no longer keeps people stuck at home,
It raises questions about the ultimate end game for, Netflix, of course, and of course for all of streamers.
by this summer, Netflix says another 2 million subscribers worldwide are expected to hit exit. Thomas Dagg.
Wow. Guys, that's pretty remarkable how, we're not only are we facing a inflation here in the country, but it seems to be affecting it globally now, that Netflix is exactly losing thousands upon thousands of subscribers every single day. Every single day. People are just, they're canceling their accounts because, this inflation is affecting everybody's wallets. Now, Netflix is a huge company. Don't get me wrong. They compete with a lot of other streaming networks such as Hulu, Amazon Prime, right? YouTube TV. A lot of streaming networks are out there. A lot of competition, a lot of different features are on different types of platforms that the other platform might not offer. So I kind of understand where Netflix is going with this. But, I'm not agreeing with the whole, cracking down on password sharing. I mean, come on. If you want to change something, why don't you change the price for one, right? Because, I mean, I'm not going to try to bash this company. I've had it in the past. I don't subscribe to Netflix at all right now. When I had it, at first I was very intrigued by the company and everything else, with the amount of offering that the platform and the app provided. But after like a year, almost 2 years into having the subscription, I noticed that, there wasn't so many newer videos or movies or TV shows being added to the service. So I felt that I wasn't really getting my money, my buck out of the end of the deal, if you kind of get what I'm saying. But, a lot of people are starting to see that right now, and I'm told that, that Netflix is now starting to basically explore ads, crackdown. Obviously, we're talking about that right now, password sharing as subscribers fall, right? The streaming giant Netflix is also considering cheaper subscriptions with commercials between households after recording a steep drop in subscribers. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it, because we were told that for a few years prior to this whole COVID hysteria, that the company was planning on dropping the prices. I haven't seen anything yet on this. I know other companies have dropped their prices pre-COVID and prior to this inflation and all this other crap. But, I mean, guys, listen, it's a company that's not doing so good, literally. And there's other companies that are following that. You hear goodness about, Hulu and, Amazon Prime and YouTube TV and all the other ones. I think there was, what's another one, producer Eric? Sling, right? Yeah, Sling, which is, at first it was a smaller company. Now they've rose to the ranks. But, I mean, it all boils down to companies that are just out there to survive, pretty much. All they are is a company just wanting to survive. That's all. That's all they need to do is just survive. Now, here's something that that you might not hear on mainstream about this whole crackdown on password sharing and this and that. Now, we put out a little video here, which I'll plug in just a short little bit, of basically who's watching, right? Now, who's watching the service? A poll coming out, a video, right? We kind of plugged into the show. Now, this is exactly what the company, I guess, is kind of going into. Check this out, guys. Now, as we plug into the video here, you're going to see exactly what we're talking about, folks.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Triple M here with another quick video. And if you're someone who has a Netflix account and you're sharing a Netflix account with a family member or a friend, well, Netflix is starting to crack down on password sharing, and you might start to see this in the form of new charges in the near future. So before we jump into details, hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Let's go. So So today I will be reading from The Verge. I'll link the article in the description as well. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. The title of this one is Why is Netflix Starting to Crack Down on Password Sharing? So Netflix has for years ignored the fact that many of us are mooching of our friends and family's accounts. But the streaming king now appears to be reconsidering its the look the other way policy, a shift that comes as Netflix growth slows and its annual production budget for churning out new hits creeps even higher. So basically, I guess this time of year is when they're pushing out new hits or new blockbusters, whatever the case is, and they're trying to get more money to fund whether it's just production of the movie, paying the actor or actresses, and so on and so forth. So in other words, Netflix needs more money. The company this week announced that
without a doubt. Hat tip over to Triple M for basically, we plugged in the video here off of his channel, YouTube channel, Triple N hat tip. Thank you very much, sir. Without a doubt. I mean, is it me, guys, or has Netflix gone significantly downhill in terms of their content? If I had to pick one streaming service, Netflix, folks, would be the first to be immediately scratched off my list. Not a big fan of Netflix. Hulu? And Hulu got a little bit more to offer. Hulu offers the live channel service that Netflix does not offer. And it seems like every other streaming service after Hulu just gets a little bit better, right? You got Amazon Prime, you got YouTube TV, you got all these different streaming services out there. Netflix really hasn't changed their model since the beginning of when they started. The only thing they really changed in any of that since their existence, since their launching over 10 years ago, almost 20 years ago now, was the original mail-in DVDs, right? You would have to order the DVD on the website, and it would take like 2 to 3, 4 business days for you to receive it, and then you would put it back in the pre-addressed packaging and mail it back to the company. That's how exactly it got its start. And then it evolved from there. So, it really hasn't changed. Now, I'm going to say one thing here about all of this, what they're planning on doing, because it's a little neurotic, if you ask me. Now, you're telling me they consider my family, right, for example, sharing a Netflix account without being in the same house as somehow wrong? Why shouldn't that classify as household when it's literally just, a family member? Maybe grandparents, or even including myself, for that matter. If they allow sub-accounts, why does it matter the IP address? Like, why are they going after the IP address, right? That's kind of fishy, if you ask me. More data tracking type of technology. Every tech company seems to be doing it. They're tracking the IP address. Isn't that invasion of privacy, right? I think it is. Now, instead of attempting any real and dirty brand self-reflection, they deflect onto families that find some sense of connection with each other through a shared Netflix account. Now, corporate boards can become so widely out of touch on this whole topic here. But, for instance, for an example, and I'm using this for example, folks, so you can understand where I'm going at with this. If I have 2 homes and use my Netflix in both my home and another home that I own, and are paying for the 2 accounts, they have no business blocking one of them or charging extra, right? I mean, do I make sense? Does it kind of make sense a little bit? I think it does. So basically, here's another example. So if I go to a vacation house on the weekend, I log into my Netflix, right, account on their television or whatever type of device they have in that vacation home, right? Shit, it could be a hotel, for Christ's sakes, right? Using their internet or perhaps my own Wi-Fi hotspot. That's password sharing, right? What if I go to a family get-together and I want to watch my Netflix shows on someone's television? How the hell are they going to disrupt where we're going to watch our shows? Right? More invasion of privacy. Shall I go on? Folks, not all of us are mooching off of each other. We share costs since it's so damn expensive. Netflix is getting selfish. That's what's going on, folks. They're getting selfish as a company. They're a bigwig company. They're a huge giant in the tech business, and they're getting selfish because they realize that they had made these costs so damn high that people can't even afford them. So they're going to other avenues, just like any corporate business usually does. They've raised prices and also tried to crack down on password sharing for more money. Folks, that seems like greed. Pretty much. You don't see greed there, there's something wrong, maybe, with you. Now, if they're going to go this avenue, I think someone should sue Netflix because they need a punishment. People who share profiles are called community profiles, not freeloaders. Stop using fucking politics to make more money. I hope someone punishes Netflix because this is greed. Seriously, honestly, there are too many other streaming platforms for them to think people won't just go somewhere else. What do they think? They're going to be like, oh, we worship Netflix. Netflix is the golden king of streaming services. They're just like every other company out there. Disney Plus, Hulu, Amazon Prime. They're just trying to stay in the market, folks. Pretty much, right? They're just trying to stay in the market. And they'll do whatever they can to stay afloat.
He fills up around every 3 days or so. He makes sure it's at a gas station on this app called Get Upside.
I get up to 25 cents a gallon back. It's free money.
Get Upside also has plans to roll out these discounts at local grocery stores and restaurants.
We need to show you Netflix. Netflix shares are moving higher as well ahead of the company's quarterly earnings results, which hit the tape after today's closing bell. Shares popping about 3.5%. We're at $349.76. Wall Street analysts expect the streaming service's earnings per share to drop to $2.90 from $3.75 a share a year ago. Now, revenue is expected to reach $7.93 billion, up from $7.16 billion year over year. Now, speaking of year over year, Netflix is down 36%.
Wow. Netflix, you heard it, folks. Down 36%. Oh, my God. I guess this is why Netflix consumers are canceling their services. Boy. I tell you, who would have thought, right? The original founders of video streaming, right? Netflix. I mean, literally the grandfather, the godfather, if you want to call it that, of video streaming. Seriously, guys, they are like a mobster movie. They're literally the godfather of video streaming. They're one of the first that came out before Hulu and Disney Plus and all the others. Netflix was the originality of it all. And look what's going on. Their stocks are plummeting. They're going down the drain. Now, there was a little bit of a rise in the stocks, but then you see the chart just going, right? Guys, this is one of the reasons, prior to what they were doing right now, this is one of the reasons why I canceled my Netflix and Disney services several years ago. It had nothing to do with the costs. Well, a little bit. Don't get me wrong. It had, right? I mentioned it earlier in today's show. It had a little bit to do with the cost, but a lot of it had to do with the content. Old movies. Why the hell am I going to pay so much money for a fucking streaming service when they have movies as old as like 20 plus years? I want to watch something that just came out in the movies, the movie theater or something or HBO Max 2-3 months ago. I don't want to watch something I watched 20 years ago. And it's the same thing now. Yeah, they got a couple new shows on Netflix, but I mean, nothing to jump up and down and get excited about. It's sad to see the direction of the whole entertainment community, literally where it's heading. Not just Netflix, but just the entire entertainment community. It's really sad. Now, folks, one of Netflix's major problems is the difference of opinion between themselves and their customers as what constitutes to entertainment, right? And what do I mean by that, right? What do I mean by that? They've really they have pretty much adapted into whatever mainstream is wanting to touch on. That they've become really a woke company, right? Really sad. A lot of companies are getting like that. The entertainment base in the entire platform, the entire company message behind Netflix has literally lost its base. I mean, seriously. The fact is, Netflix is more interested in preaching the message than entertaining. Yeah, the woke message. They care two shits about entertaining. All they care about is money, right? They don't care about the consumer. Just like every other corporate greed company. They could say what they want about why people are canceling, but the reality is they are putting out woke trash, and most people are sick of it. I'm sick of it. It's disgusting. Imagine making content for a little tiny percentage of the population and then being shocked by people canceling their membership, right? That's why people don't support their agenda. That's why Netflix is losing money. Other companies are in the same ballpark. I mean, seriously, folks, they aren't going to use my money to pay Meghan Markle, Chelsea Handler millions of dollars to complain about how privileged they are. The same goes for Democrat founder Reed Haskins and the Obamas, right? Remember all that, folks? The Obama signed that, what was it, a fucking $1 million Netflix deal? Looks like they're losing out on that deal. No one's really watching the show. The platform's tanking. Every single show they produce is crafted with the agenda and means nothing. I mean, I find myself watching more YouTube tutorial videos, right? Even though there's some woke agenda in their crap, than literally watching anything on Netflix, because it's all liberal shit. That's pretty much what it is. The last few years have nothing but been this type of liberal woke shit. It's what it is, folks. It's shit. It's trash. 15 years ago, maybe not so much. But now, it's all trash. All trash. I really get upset at myself why I never really kept all my old DVDs, because now that I think of it, wow, I can really use a good DVD right now. Can you guys? I could use a really good DVD. But that's what you get for what you get when you live in the society we live in today, right? There comes a time when people don't care. So being without becomes painless, right? I mean, entertainment has been pushing people to that threshold for a long time. Literally, a very long time. We all know Netflix motto, right? It seemed to be quality over quantity. Would that work? That worked until, like, the other content services caught up. Right? Remember that? Remember when Netflix first came out, their motto was that quantity over quality, right? That was their motto. That was their founding motto. And then what happened? All the other streaming services literally caught up to Netflix. And now we have both quality and quantity by just switching between them. It's true. Netflix either needs to start making quality shows, drop the price significantly, or go the way of Blockbuster Video. Remember Blockbuster Video, folks? Right? Look at the aftermath. Blockbuster's no more. It doesn't even exist. Blockbuster tried doing the same thing that Netflix did. They tried adapting to a streaming service. Lasted for like what? 2-3 years, right? Producer Eric. Yeah, 2-3 years. Yeah, 2-3 years. And then it tanked. So cutting out the woke crap for all these streaming companies would help out drastically. Get rid of it. Because if you're going to adapt to that type of culture, that type of entertainment, folks, you are going to lose millions upon millions of subscribers every single day. And then what happens when you get down to the last few 100,000 subscribers? You go out of business. You have to tell all your employees, sorry, can't pay you today because we can't afford it. Excuse me. It's true. Very true. Just think of the people that are canceling right now, right? Going to the account section on the website of the app, and their answer is basically probably the same as just every other common average American, right? Too woke for me. Click. Right? Guess what happens when you get too many clicks? Bye-bye. Nice knowing you. Now, if you told me in 1975, right? Well, I wasn't even fucking alive in 1975, but I'm just going to use this for an example. Now, say for instance, and the reason why I'm using 1975 is you'll understand the narrative behind it. If you told me in 1975 that people would be paying $1 for a glass of drinking water and $60 to $100 a month to watch TV, we would have laughed you out of the room. Trust me, guys. You can lead a happier life without of all this crap that we have today. And it's time people start giving it a little try, right? This type of crap we have. Because, folks, I could tell you right now, wasn't born in 1975. I was born like 7 years later after that, 1982. I could tell you, I wouldn't mind going back to 1975 and living simpler, happier lives than all this woke agenda shit, this hatred, this fear-mongering, this, that. Wouldn't mind going back to the late 70s. Now we have streaming services. Excuse me. We have streaming services that feature a show called Cuties. About how they're sexualizing little children. And apparently, Disney, and now I'm told Hulu, is pretty much having the same problem going this direction. Can you believe where the hell we've become as a society? Sick, deranged crap. Sick. After so many years, these companies, their constant bombardment of degenerate wokeness trash is not only annoying, but it's destroying our society. Look what it's doing to the entertainment business, the movie business. Literally killing it like a fucking infection, like a poison. There's no cure for it. Well, there is a cure for it. Stop buying into it. That's the cure. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning into today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed this one. Remember, guys, to tune me in tomorrow as we will be having a special podcast. That's right, guys. The Patriot Brief, a special Sunday episode. You're going to want to check that episode out, guys. Got a lot of great topics and content on that show. Remember, guys, if you want to hear any past episode, you can find them on my website at patriotanglepodcast.com, as well as all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Google, and Apple. Now on Amazon Music, as well as Audible. Yeah. If you have an Alexa device, just say, "Hey Alexa, play the Patriot Angle podcast," and we'll pop right up on any Alexa device. Pretty cool. With that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the Patriot Brief. You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle podcast. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon Music, and Audible. Also streaming live on Twitch. Remember to follow and like us, guys, for unfiltered, uncensored, raw content. Also, please head over to www.patriotanglepodcast.com for all your exclusive Patriot Angle podcast content and material, as well as the merchandise website, www.patriotunfiltered.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.